Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Silver Years. My name is DK, and I'm very happy to be here with you today. And I humbly thank you for joining me. All right, I'm going to carry on my story time. My story time about Gog of Magog, Part 3. Um, Little continuation. This is strictly for posterity. Take from it what you will. This is just me telling my story. So, if you remember now, Gog hired me because of the glasses. I got interviewed, and then the kind of person that he was. And he was a whirling dervish for sure, who learned how to whisper in a sawmill. So there came a time we had a California office that needed a broker. And there was a man who was running that office, and he had I can't remember if he had a broker's license or not. I think they were borrowing a broker's license from somebody. Og needed to get his broker's license because the office needed a broker sponsor. And as a side note, I was a real estate salesperson in California. I had taken a test at 18. And so I'd had my real estate license, not a broker, but a sales license. And it was inactive for quite a number of years. But, by this time, I don't know. I don't even know that I had it that long, but because I was kind of young then, but I did have one. Okay. And so basically, Gog said, I have to take all these courses, and they're correspondence. Okay. It's not online like it is now. Like I said, internet wasn't available. So you could order books, and then you could take your quizzes, and then you could go to a proctor and take the exam. And ultimately, you do it. You do all the steps, and then you get all your educational requirements met, and then you're able to qualify to take the real estate exam, which is a whole other matter because then you have to study, and it is a commitment to study for those tests, just like the bar or anything else. So he had nothing. So he had to start from scratch, and he had to take all these courses. And there were a stack of books, and I don't know, I don't even remember how many. And he had the audacity one day to come to me and say, I really need you. I just don't have time to do this, he said. I just don't have time to do this. So he wanted me to do the courses and take the tests for him. And then he would just show up for the proxy whenever it was convenient. And I looked at him and I said, not a chance. I said, I'm not doing your school for you. Not happening. But what it did do, and he just looked at me like he couldn't believe it. No, I'm not doing your work for you. I am not. That is not part of what I'm getting paid to do. And so, what it did do was give me an idea. It made me realize that I already was halfway there to the broker, that I just needed to take a few more hours in correspondence courses, and then I would qualify to take the test. So what I did, without him knowing, actually without him knowing at all, I got all the books, I did all the testing, I did the proctor, the testing and everything, and I got qualified to take the test. And one day, and the pressure was building because he was doing nothing. He wasn't doing any of it. And all of the partners and everybody was like, well, Gog, when are we going to have that broker's license? And the gentleman who was in California office was like, we need a broker. We need a broker. So eventually, um, I fessed up and said, well, I can do it. And then it came that I was planning on moving back to Orange County. There were several reasons for it. And but I was ready to leave Denver. And so I was preparing to switch, to move. And so I said to him, well, I'm moving. So if you want, I can work in the office in Orange County, and I'll take the test and I'll be the broker for that office. And that's exactly what happened. Actually, that's exactly what happened. And I ended up being the broker for that office for probably 3 years, maybe before, that's where I was before I moved to Montana. But he thought that I would be the one to do all of his schoolwork for him so that he could, swoop in and do this. And he was never going to do it. So in the end, I ultimately ended up being the one to do it. And it worked out well for me because it helped me relocate. I already had a job, and it was a seamless transition. It worked well. So while I was in California, though, we would have meetings. He loved Las Vegas, and we loved doing deals in Las Vegas. So the brokers that were in California and in Arizona we would all meet, and Gog would meet us, and we'd all meet in Vegas and inspect properties and basically, true to Gog form, have fun because he was all about playing. He was all about playing. Oh my God. So I went to Vegas for one of these trips. Well, I went to for several, but one in particular. And we went to Vegas, and he was like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And for me, um, what he did was he got us seats to see, and the gentleman from California, the originator from California, came with us too. There were a handful of us. So we went to go see Wayne Newton. Okay. This was like 1989 or 90 maybe. And it was so much fun. I had so much fun. I never thought in a million years I could have so much fun, because Vegas isn't my favorite place, but we did have a lot of fun. And then he taught me how to play craps. He loved craps. So I was up half the night while he taught me how to play craps. And then what he did, there came a time where they had like a corporate meeting where they brought everybody, all the originators from out of state, to Denver for a big annual meeting. And I came. And what they did is they separated all the women in the office and sent them to dinner, and all the men ended up going to this fancy steak dinner at this new 5-star high-end strip club that they had just opened across from the Denver Convention Center. And I can't remember the name of the place. I want to say it was Ruby or something. It was Red Rubies. But so we were at this dinner with all these women, and the other women who helped me, the balls with skirts, they called them, the other executives that worked with the owners, were kind of irritated that we were just left at that while the men were out having fun. And they were kind of annoyed with that. And I just looked up and said, well, then maybe we should go to the strip club and see what they're doing. Why don't we go check them out? So we did. We got in the car, the three of us, not all together, but we all showed up and sat in a dark corner of this strip club. Now, see, I'd never been in a strip club before. I didn't know anything about this. Never been in one since. But we went into the strip club and sat in a dark corner in the back and watched when all the men came in from the dining room into the strip club area, and the various tables they had and all the chairs that sat around it. And I sat there and I watched Gog sit at one of these tables. So his back was to me, and all I could see was his little bald head, and he was bouncing up and down like a little kid, so excited, just like this, so excited, so excited. And so what I did, I came up behind him and I rubbed my hand on the top of his bald head, and I bent down and I whispered in his ear and I said, "That could be your daughter up there." He flew back. He flew back in the chair and almost fell back. Good thing I was standing behind him. And he looked at me, and then he started laughing so hard. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And ultimately, we just ended up spending the next couple hours there just having fun. I mean, I'm not caring about who was up there. I mean, whoever was dancing wasn't making any money because we had other things going on, but never in a million years would I have had that experience. So that's the kind of person he was. The one partner who couldn't stand him said he got really mad at him because we had a foreclosure that was happening, and you can't go into the property when it's in foreclosure. You don't own it. It's still it's a gray area. You don't get access to it. It's not okay. And they had a big commercial property that had kind of a hunting lodge on it and this and that. And he wanted to go hunting. He wanted to go hunting and he didn't care. And he went to have a party and he was warned not to go, but he did. And he got arrested. And the other partner was just went crazy. He was so angry because he was the one managing it. And now they had egg on their face because here was Gog, who had been arrested for being on a property that he had no business being on because he wanted to go hunting. He wanted to have fun. And he got busted. And it didn't work out too well for him. But in the end, aside from teaching me boundaries, what else did he teach me? He taught me how to have fun in different ways. Oh, there was another time. It's like the glasses. He wouldn't come and talk to me about anything directly unless he was forced to. Now, human resources made him come and talk to me because when I signed documents in my, employee file when I was hired, you have to sign all the W-2s and all of that. Well, there was a form in there that was to authorize them to pull a credit report, and I refused to sign it. Now, remember, this was in 1987. I refused to sign it because they had no business pulling my credit, and it was none of their business. And I wasn't going to give them authorization to do it. Now, if you want a job today, you're going to sign all that, and it's not even an option. But back then, it was not something that was done, and I considered it a violation. And he came in. I guess Human Resources sent him in to say, we need her to sign this form. She wouldn't sign this form. So he comes and he says, you didn't sign this form, and I said, I'm not going to sign that form. I'm not ever going to sign that form. It's none of your business. And he just kind of looked at me and sort of sunk in the chair and went, okay. And that was the last I ever heard of it. So he taught me boundaries in so many different ways. I'm telling you, I really had to stand up for myself, and I really had to speak up, and I really had to draw the line on certain occasions because just the way that it would go, he would go, and lose it on people. So, all right. So anyway, that's my story on Gog from Magog for now. I would love to hear your stories as well. So let me just say, for the record, this is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Until next time, be well, choose love, and thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.